Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of TLDR. This week we're talking about the Bill and Ted movies because I just saw Bill and Ted Face the Music. I really enjoyed it, but if we were anything on TLDR, we're a bit late to the party. So instead of talking about Bill and Ted Face the Music, we're talking about the first two movies in the Bill and Ted trilogy, and that would be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Now, the first movie came out when I was 10 years old, and I immediately loved it. Later, I watched it again, and they still hold up to this day because they're just great. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. Bill and Ted is the American Doctor Who. I mean, if you look at it, they go through time in a phone booth. Yes, in Doctor Who it's a police box, but you get the point. And they do things through time, not necessarily through space, but like it's pretty great. Like the first movie is pretty low stakes because basically it's just, oh hey, we need you to be able to pass history because if you don't, bad things are going to happen down the road. And like for being an incredibly low stakes story in that respect, it takes that and it just goes off the rails into what's pretty honestly a great story. There's some action in there. There's a lot of character development for these two dudes who, if they did it wrong, you wouldn't care about because they're just two dudes. And that's it. But since they do things the way that they do, and they go through time trying to do all this stuff, and I mean, they're going through history, and honestly, they're going to fail history, which tells you they don't know anything about history. So they end up going through time, getting all of these people, and end up successfully passing history, which is fantastic, but you don't really know what that means until later. And I'm going to say it, that leads into my favorite of the trilogy, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Because Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, after like some time travel hijinks and stuff like that, and interesting stuff done with time travel, which is really hard to do, because time travel has been done a lot. Of course, back then it hadn't been done a lot. But they were able to do interesting things with time travel, like the whole... What they do in Bogus Journey takes what they did in the first one and just takes it to a crazy level. It's just like, oh hey, we got to make sure that we do that thing that we were talking about so that when he comes back in the future, we already did that thing, and it actually like messes with his whole plan. And it's like, what? Like, okay. So not only does part of their plan hinge on them actually winning in order to be able to go back in time, to be able to do the stuff that caused them to win, which is like crazy time travel mathematical equations and stuff, but it's just fun to watch because like the mental gymnastics it takes to get there are pretty great. And not only that, but in this movie they don't just travel through time. Bill and Ted actually die and end up going to hell basically and have to basically claw their way out of there by talking to Death and getting him on their side, and then being able to get out of there to be able to go back to the world and finish up the plans that they have, because they're supposed to, like they talk about in Bill and Ted Face the Music, they're supposed to do a song that unites the world. And by the end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, you think they've done that, because there's an amazing song. It's a Kiss song. It's at the very end, and it's a great song, and it's a great song not only just to end the whole movie with, but it's just a great song in general. Because if there's one thing that this whole thing does right, it's that it's just a love song to music in general, and the healing power of music, what music does to unite people. And I think that's just a great message in general, and it's one that carries over into the third one in a way that's pretty awesome, and I'm not going to spoil here, but I am going to say you need to watch it because it's pretty great. But yeah, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is everything that the first one was, cranked to 11. And it's just, the cinematography is great, the whole like plot of them doing things that are like, oh, we have to make sure we do that so that it's in place so that when we come back here and do this, it's already there so that we can do all of this stuff. And it's just fun because it goes through a whole bunch of things that's just like, oh man, how would I even do time travel? Because I couldn't keep track of where half of the stuff was going because, oh yeah, we got to make sure that in the future we don't forget to do that thing that we were doing in the past because it's going to help us save our own butts in the present. And it's like, I don't know how to keep track of that, but these guys do. Bill and Ted are awesome. Death is awesome. He's played by a dude named William Sadler. I like everything that dude's ever been in. Like, he's just a great actor. If he was in like everything, I would not have a problem with it. He's just good. He's fantastic. And as Death, it's one of the funniest performances. And if you've seen the trailers for Face the Music, he's back in that, and it is pretty great the way they did that. But seriously, by the end of this whole thing, everything that they told you about time travel in this stays consistent through the entire trilogy. Like, where, oh hey, you may be doing stuff and time traveling, but the time in your timeline never stops moving forward, so that unless you're back to do the thing at the time that you're supposed to do it, you could overrun that and mess everything up. And that has stayed from the beginning to the end of Face the Music, and it's, as much as in my last video I talked about how Hellboy the 2019 reboot was very logically inconsistent throughout one film, these guys were totally consistent about the way that time travel works across 3 movies and across like 40 years. Not quite, it's like 31 years. But I mean, that's a lot of time to be able to make sure that you get stuff right. And this, it behaves in a manner that's internally consistent. It's fun to see, and like, it's just interesting to understand and all that stuff. But yeah, so Face the Music, watch it. I'm not going to spoil anything about it. It's just great. The first 2 movies, if you want to do like a whole let's watch all 3 thing, they're not like when you do like a thing with Lord of the Rings or the entire MCU where you have a huge time commitment. They're only like an hour and a half each, and it's not going to kill like 2 days to get it all done. You can do this stuff in about like less than 5 hours, and they're all fun, and they all just, like, let me just say this, having Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter and the other people in the movie who are from the original 2 come back and reprise these roles and have fun with them, just like, it not only blows my mind, but it makes me happy. And there's a lot that you can say about the world right now that just sucks. But Bill and Ted coming for a 3rd movie and knocking it out of the park makes me happy. And I want to know, have you seen Face the Music? Are you going to? Like, what was your, if you already have, what's your favorite of the 3? Throw that down in the comments. And if you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified of when we do these things. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipe, and I hope to see you again here on The Heart of Geek. So have a great day, a great week, a great month, and a great year. Bye-bye.